4:15 a.m., the Strait of Hormuz. A 107mm rocket ignites on the rail of an Iranian Zulfikar fast attack boat. It travels at 1,200 feet per second and slams into the bridge windows of the Global Venture, a 1,200-foot oil tanker. The reinforced glass turns into dust. That hit achieved the first goal. The ship is now blind. Without the bridge, the crew can't steer, and they can't navigate the 21-mile-wide channel. Seconds later, a second 107mm rocket hits the aft section. It punches through the steel hull and explodes inside the engine room. The back of the ship breaks open. The explosion severs the main fuel lines, and the massive engines instantly go silent. The Global Venture is now dead in the water, and it's blocking the path for everyone else. 12 more Zulfikar fast attack boats circle the tanker. They are taking a hostage. They are using $150 million worth of crude oil as a physical shield. They know that if the U.S. Navy fires back, the entire Strait of Hormuz could go up in flames. Please note that this scenario is purely hypothetical, designed for education and entertainment. Want to see how it plays out? Comment 1 below to continue or 2 to stop here. The Global Venture was only the bait. 500 Iranian Zulfikar fast attack boats tear across the surface of the water. They are moving in staggered V formations, fanning out across the 21 miles of the Strait of Hormuz. That's a distance equal to the entire length of Manhattan, and within 20 minutes, every inch of it is covered. The lead boats reach the next line of civilian targets. The Olympic Glory, the Star of Dubai, and the Europort are all 1,000-foot-long crude carriers. They try to bank away, but they are too slow. The Iranian boats then do something the U.S. Navy didn't prepare for. They pull directly into the dead zones of the tankers, the areas right against the hull, where the tanker's massive bulk prevents anyone on the deck from seeing them. They use heavy-duty steel tethers to lock themselves to the commercial ships. This creates a nightmare for the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group. The F-35C Lightning II jets circling above can see the tankers, but they can't see the tiny Iranian boats tucked under the hulls. The U.S. tries to break the tethering. A USS Carney destroyer moves within 3 miles of the Olympic Glory. It's trying to use its electronic warfare suite to jam the Iranian radios. The Iranian response is immediate. From the deck of a hijacked freighter, they launch a Noor anti-ship cruise missile. The Noor is flying so low, the USS Carney's radar doesn't pick it up until it's only 4 miles away. The ship's phalanx, the TWS, starts screaming. It spits out 75 rounds of tungsten bullets every instant. The Noor missile hits that wall and disintegrates into a ball of fire just 500 yards from the destroyer's hull. The U.S. stopped the hit, but the message was delivered. The enemy has the capability to reach out and touch a billion-dollar warship at any moment. The USS Carney is forced to back off. The Iranian boats stay tethered to the tanker, safe and hidden. The Iranian forces aren't waiting for the U.S. Navy to solve the hostage crisis. From the back of flatbed trucks hidden under camouflage netting on the Iranian coast, the first wave of the swarm launches. They are Shahed 136 loitering munitions. The drones are cheap, made of carbon fiber and off-the-shelf electronics, but they carry an 80-pound explosive warhead. The goal is to overwhelm the U.S. defenses with so many targets. The USS Carney, a guided missile destroyer, detects the swarm when it is only 15 miles out. The destroyer launches a pair of SM-2 interceptor missiles. The missiles leave the vertical launch cells accelerating to over 2,500 miles per hour in seconds. They find 2 drones and vaporize them. But an SM-2 missile costs over $2 million. A Shahed 136 drone costs $20,000. The Iranians have launched 200 of them. The U.S. Navy is firing million-dollar silver bullets at pieces of flying plastic. The swarm reaches the first line of defense. The USS Carney is now firing everything it has. The Phalanx CIWS Gatling gun on the ship's deck is spitting out a continuous stream of tungsten bullets. 10 drones are shredded in mid-air, their debris raining down into the sea, but the swarm is too dense. 5 drones break through the wall of lead. 1 drone hits the USS Carney's aft section. The back of the ship breaks open. Secondary explosions from stored aviation fuel begin to rip through the internal compartments. The U.S. Navy has taken a real blow. The USS Carney is forced to stop its defense to fight the fires. For the first time in decades, an American warship is burning and dead in the water in the middle of a battle. The drones that miss the destroyer don't stop. They bank toward the tethered tankers. The Iranian boats tether to the Olympic Glory detach and pull back just as 3 drones slam into the tanker's superstructure. The explosion doesn't sink the ship, but it turns the bridge into a furnace. The world watches on satellite feeds as the pride of the U.S. Navy sits paralyzed while the global oil supply is systematically dismantled. The USS Abraham Lincoln suddenly stops launching its F-35C, lightning 2 stealth jets. To the Iranian observers, it looks like a retreat. The carrier group begins to pull back, moving away from the narrowest part of the strait. But 40 miles away on a small dusty landing strip carved into the desert of Oman, something impossible is happening. It's a dirt road with a few fuel bladders and crates of ammunition. From this strip, 3 aircraft take off. These are the OA-1K Skyraider, 2 light attack aircraft. They are made of composite materials and fly so low to the water that the Iranian coastal radars struggle to separate them from the clutter, the random echoes caused by waves and sea spray. The OA-1Ks fly in a tight line, staying just 50 feet above the waves. At this height, they are below the horizon of the Iranian long-range missiles. They are flying by sight using the MX-15 targeting pod, a high-definition camera system tucked under the nose that can see the heat signature of a cigarette from 5 miles away. The lead OA-1K banks hard its wings, nearly touching the water. It just reads the heat coming off the Iranian boat engines. Under the wings of the plane sit pods of advanced precision kill weapon system rockets. The APKWS is a dumb rocket that has been given a smart brain. The U.S. isn't firing $2 million missiles anymore. They are firing rockets that cost less than a mid-sized sedan, and they are firing them from a plane that can fly as slow as the boats can sail. The Iranian commanders on the coast finally realize something is wrong. They try to tilt their radar beams down to find the planes, but the OA-1Ks are already weaving between the massive hulls of the tankers. They are using the tankers as cover, the same way the Iranians did. The trap is about to be reversed. The OA-1K suddenly levels its wings, and a laser designator paints a tiny green dot on the outboard motor of the lead Iranian Zulfikar boat. The first APKWS rocket leaves the pod with a sharp hiss. The rocket hits the engine block of the boat with the force of a sledgehammer, turning the fiberglass hull into a spray of toothpicks. The tanker isn't even scorched. The scalpel has arrived. And for the first time in the battle, the Iranian force has no answer for it. The gray silhouette of the first OA-1K Skyraider 2 drops so low that its landing gear almost clips the whitecaps of the Persian Gulf. The Iranian crews tethered to the Olympic Glory finally realize this isn't a civilian plane. A heavy 12.7mm machine gun mounted on the bow of a Zulfikar fast boat opens up. The tracer fire slams into the nose and the cockpit glass of the OA-1K. Any other aircraft would have disintegrated, but the OA-1K is built differently. The rounds hit the armored bathtub surrounding the pilot and the engine, and they simply spark and ricochet away. The bulletproof glass, inches thick, takes the 12.7mm hits and remains clear. The plane keeps coming. The Iranian commander on the boat realizes the bullets aren't working. He screams for his crew to detach the tethers and flee. But it's too late. The OA-1K pilot squeezes a trigger on the control stick. A green laser beam, invisible to the naked eye, shoots out from the nose of the plane and paints a tiny dot directly on the Iranian boat's fuel tank. Under the wing, an APKWS rocket ignites. The APKWS rocket sees the green dot on the boat and adjusts its path mid-air. It doesn't create a massive explosion that would risk the tanker's 20 million barrel cargo. Instead, it hits the boat with the force of a high-speed car crash. The Zulfikar boat's engine block is driven straight through the bottom of the hull. The boat sinks in less than 10 seconds. By using a small warhead and a laser, the U.S. can now kill the hostage taker without hurting the hostage. The other two OAA-1Ks join the hunt. They fly in a staggered formation, weaving between the massive oil tankers like they are navigating a canyon of steel. The Iranians' human shield strategy is being dismantled. Every time an Iranian boat tries to fire a shoulder-launched missile, the OA-1K pilots use their superior agility to bank behind the massive superstructure of a tanker. The missile hits the steel of the tanker and explodes harmlessly against the thick hull, while the OA-1K loops around and delivers another APKWS rocket to the attacker's hull. In 3 minutes, 12 Iranian boats are at the bottom of the strait. The precision is terrifying. Not a single civilian sailor has been injured. The tankers are still dead in the water, but they are no longer shields. The Iranian forces realize they cannot win this close-quarters fight. They try to head for the shallow water near the Iranian coast where the big U.S. destroyers can't follow, but the OA-1K doesn't care about water depth. It follows them, its propeller buzzing like a persistent insect. One by one, the boats are picked off. The Iranian high command on the coast sees their swarm being erased. They have one final desperate move. They cannot allow the U.S. to take the strait back. If they can't own the oil, they will burn it. Hidden inside reinforced concrete bunkers along the coast of Bandar Abbas, the heavy hitters wake up. These are the Noor anti-ship cruise missile batteries. The Noor launchers roll out, but to hit a ship, they have to turn on their active radars to find the tankers. But the F-35C Lightning II is orbiting 10 miles above the battle. It hears the Iranian radar turning on. It uses a high-speed data link to send the exact GPS coordinates of the bunkers to the 3 OA-1Ks on the surface. But the Iranians are ready. They know the U.S. will try to strike the bunkers. They launch their remaining Shahed 136 drones not at the ships, but at the OA-1Ks. The OA-1Ks bank hard, pulling 6 times the force of gravity as they try to outmaneuver the drones. One OA-1K is clipped. A Shahed 136 explodes 10 feet from its left wing. The blast shatters the wingtip and shreds the outer control surface. The plane rolls violently to the left, heading straight for the water. The back of the ship, the tail section, takes a hit from shrapnel. If the OA-1Ks are shot down, the Noor missiles will fire and the tankers will be destroyed. But the pilot of the damaged OA-1K fights the controls. The pilot uses the rudder to compensate for the missing wingtip and pulls the plane level just 20 feet above the waves. It's still in the fight. The 3 OA-1Ks regroup. They have to kill the missile bunkers before the Noors launch. They dive back toward the coast, flying low. The Iranian Noor battery commander sees the gray planes coming. He realizes his radar lock is being jammed by the F-35C above. He decides to fire blind using the last known coordinates of the tankers. The first Noor missile ignites. The missile begins to slide out of its tube. At that exact second, the lead OA-1K fires its final pod of APKWS rockets. They are aiming for the brain of the bunker, the radar dish sitting on top of the concrete. The rocket hits the dish and explodes. The Noor missile, now halfway out of its tube, suddenly loses its guidance. The missile loses its stability and tumbles forward. The 360-pound warhead explodes. The other 2 OA-1Ks hit the remaining bunkers. One by one, the scorched earth weapon systems are neutralized. The Iranian boats are gone, the missile bunkers are rubble, the Strait Authority has been erased. The tankers are still there, they are scarred, their bridges are blackened by fire, and they are dead in the water, but they are still afloat. The global economy hasn't collapsed, but as the planes disappear over the horizon, the F-35C high above detects something new, a fresh set of radar pings from further inland. The enemy isn't finished. They are just regrouping. The strait is open, but the war is just getting started. Before you go, one thing about the OA-1K Skyraider 2 that almost nobody talks about. It wasn't designed by a defense giant specializing in stealth or supersonic speed. It was built by a company that makes agricultural aircraft literal crop dusters. The airframe is based on a machine meant to spray fertilizer over cornfields in the American Midwest. The engine inside that plane is a turboprop designed for one thing: reliability. It is built to be abused. It can ingest the heavy salt spray and desert sand of the Persian Gulf that would melt the sensitive internals of an F-35C in seconds. The US Navy took a piece of farming equipment, armored it like a tank, and turned it into a surgical sniper that can stay in the air for 10 hours straight. The most terrifying weapon in the Strait of Hormuz wasn't a billion-dollar jet, it was a rugged tractor with wings.